The first card you have in your past is the Ace of Swords. Yeah, so sometimes this is about clarity. It can be about contradictions. It can be about right and wrong, all kinds of different things. It's a really, really interesting card. I really like this card. I'm seeing a few different things. I am seeing some contradictions here. I'm seeing a lot of ideas coming to you, and I think there were some really amazing ideas that were coming to you, really innovative things, some really, really different things actually. And you can do those things. You can absolutely do any of these things. I just felt as if I had to tell you that, because I am feeling a little bit of apprehension about this or something like that. So I don't know if I can do this. I'm actually seeing the words head in the clouds, or like not in the real world, and that kind of thing. I think this might be how someone might have described you once. Maybe this was someone close to you, might have been a relative, a close relative. It's like, oh, they don't know what they're doing, their head's in the clouds, they're kind of not in the real world. That's the kind of thing I'm getting. And I think you might still struggle to kind of put your ideas into action sometimes, because I think the ideas come in, but sometimes the reality of putting things into action can be a little bit overwhelming for you, a little bit daunting. And I think there have been some things that you've started recently even, and you weren't able to finish them. You can do this. You're more than capable of finishing these things. I'm actually seeing some notes, sketches, pieces of paper with things written on them, ideas, things like that. I think you have lots of these kinds of pieces of paper everywhere. You can absolutely get them to the last stage. I keep on feeling as if I have to remind you of that. But then I'm seeing this kind of contradiction, which is head in the clouds. So maybe you grew up around people who had a kind of a limited perception of what they could achieve, and maybe that kind of rubbed off on you. It's something that's kind of deep in your subconscious, I think. So if this is making any sense to you at all, try and do what you can to kind of get out of that mindset. You can do these things. You can do them. You can do all of them. I'm also seeing something quite practical, a day-to-day thing, and I think that stopped a recent idea that you had. I'm seeing this fantastic idea, you started doing something, and then you had this practical thing, and you had to put that aside and deal with this practical thing. It's something you forgot to do, and I think maybe your head was all in this idea, which is fine, and then there's this I've got this thing, oh, I forgot to do this, and oh, I've got my head in the clouds, I should get back to reality. That was kind of what came into your head, I think. So don't think of this in terms of one side of the sword versus the other side of the sword. What I mean by that is, don't think, oh, the creative ideas is on one side, and on the other side there's like day-to-day reality, which is a bit boring. You can have the two together. You can live with the two. One doesn't oppose the other. You can take care of all the practical things you need and still have all these ideas, and you can make them work well. You can make them all work together if you want to. But I think maybe in your upbringing, which is what I'm seeing, that might be where this is coming from, this kind of one side, I have to either be like that, which is all practical, going down this road, or I can be this kind of mad professor on the other side. Okay, so the next card you have for your past is the Three of Swords. Yes. Okay, so yeah, I think this is about this thing that you forgot to do. This isn't some great big heartbreak I'm seeing here. I am seeing disappointed people. I am seeing upset people. There are three people here. And I think two people were kind of relying on you to do something, and you either forgot this thing or you didn't realize it was something like that. So I think you had these two people kind of on your back, actually. And I think this situation might be ongoing, because there's some kind of delay here. It's sort of like, oh, I've missed the deadline. They're all going to think I'm stupid. And it feels a little bit like that. And again, this has brought this feeling of, oh, I didn't have my eye on the ball because my head was in the clouds. That's the kind of thing I keep on getting here. Again, I'm seeing these people in your life when you're growing up, maybe. And that's what's giving you these limitations, I think. if that's all making sense to you, I'm not blaming them, because I think they were probably a product of the way they were brought up. I'm seeing a lot of self-consciousness around them as well. I think these people who brought you up, maybe they felt as if they had to stick to the rules because, what would the neighbours think? It's that kind of thinking. You have broken out of that, but not quite, because I'm seeing this, when you have these sorts of things, like when you have these things like missed deadlines and these kinds of things that happen to everyone, forgetting things, that's normal. It just means you're human. It doesn't mean you're this crazy person with your head in the clouds. And also people with their heads in the clouds, they can go on to invent some really amazing things. Maybe they're not the most practical people, but they can be as well. You can be really inventive, really creative, and be practical as well. You absolutely can. But what would the world be like if we all stayed on this really sensible path? It'd be really boring, and I wouldn't be here doing this reading. So I know I'm going off track, but I just hope the message that's in there somewhere reaches someone, because someone's feeling really limited. This is what I'm getting. Someone's feeling really limited because of their past, and I really hate to see that, because there are no limitations. You can absolutely do all of these things that you're imagining and more, and you can do all of them. You absolutely can. The last card you have your past is the Hanged Man. Okay, so I'm getting this really apprehensive feeling. This is like, I think someone was quite afraid, actually. I think they still are. This feels very immediate to me. It's happening right now. Someone's very scared. I'm seeing love here. I think there's someone who really cares about you. I think you care about them as well. You do a lot for this person. I'm seeing you doing a lot of practical things for them. I think there's there's some kind of meeting or an event or something like that coming up. It's a social event. I'm not seeing business or work around this. This is all, social. And it's to do with this person you're with meeting someone else. And it's coming up sometime in the future, I think. I don't think this person, this love connection, I don't think they're telling you everything. I don't think they're telling you how they're feeling. They're very worried. They might be feeling anxious, actually, about this meeting. Now, what I'm seeing is you want this to happen. You want this to take place. And yeah, that's absolutely fine if you do. But, if they come to you and say something like, oh, I'm really anxious, I don't think I can do this, I don't feel ready, I might have to say no to this. If they say that to you, just listen to them. Try not to persuade them to go ahead, because there's a possibility of resentment coming up ahead if you try to force this on them, because they'll go to this thing, they'll be really upset, they'll be really resentful, unhappy. They might go, it might be fine, but it has to be their idea if they want to go. If they come to you and say, I don't want to go, then just let it go. Try not to kind of keep on persuading them until they go. I don't think they've said anything to you yet. I'm just looking at this man, and he has his hands behind his back, so he's hiding something, and obviously he's hesitating. So keep that in mind if that all resonates, because there's a lot of love, there's a lot of care, there's a lot of positivity between you and this person, and I'd really hate to see that turning into resentment. So just keep that in mind if that all resonates with you. Okay, so the first card you have your present is the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, Pentacles, this is obviously about money. It doesn't have to be, but I'm seeing that here quite clearly. I'm getting a lot of financial ups and downs, and I think you've had these happen to you, especially over the last, say, 2 or 3 years, maybe even 4 years. I'm just seeing this time when you're really struggling, and then there was a time after that when you're doing a lot better, and then things went down again for a while. So there's up, down, up, down. I think now you're building things up again for yourself. I'm seeing, strict budgeting, maybe even having to remove some comfort so that you had less bills to pay. You might have even had to, sell things. But I think you're back on track now. I keep on getting this family in this. I'm getting family in this again. I'm seeing your family influences, your family's influenced you quite a lot. It's all through this reading. These people that I was seeing in the Ace of Swords, these head in the clouds people, family I'm seeing, they also have really different ideas when it comes to money, different to you. I know this might sound a bit strange and it's quite specific, but there might be some opposing religious ideas here as well, and maybe that's where their money ideas come from. Because I keep on seeing these very kind of straight down the line, stick to the rules kinds of people, and I think you've struggled with that through your life, actually. You do love them. I think you do love these people. You have a lot of love for them, but you're just very different people. And what I'm seeing all over this reading so far is this need for you to separate yourself from old ideas, old ways of thinking. Now, if this resonates, you're probably thinking, I've done that. I'm an adult. I'm not like them at all. I'm very different. I live somewhere else. I don't live with them. I don't have the same ways. I do different things. Yes, you do. You do all those things. But I think there are probably still some subconscious things in there, especially this idea that you can either be so-called sensible or impractical, one or the other. And I think that's what's stopping you from finishing these fantastic ideas that you have, and you should not let anything stop you. And I think this might be what is stopping you. It might not be, but that's just what I'm seeing in this reading. So just have a think about that if that makes sense to you. Okay, so the next card you have your presence, the Queen of Swords. Okay, so I'm seeing something here. It might be a little bit of a warning, actually. I think there's someone from your past, and I think you have to see them for some reason. You need to keep in touch with them. It's something like that. There's some kind of link between you. There is love here, so past love. So it might be an ex. I'm not seeing them giving you any problems up front. They seem to be quite cooperative. They seem to be fine. There is a warning here. Just be a little bit careful, if you're tempted to share too much with them, especially about money, your financial situation. I'm getting this feeling that they're on your side once, and I think they used to share a lot of things with you, especially a lot of financial ups and downs with you. So they have this familiarity with you when it comes to money, especially in your past. So just be a little bit careful, because they might try to get you into conversations about money where you feel familiar and okay and comfortable, and they might try to get you to talk about what you have or things like that. So just make sure you have your guard up a bit, like this Queen, because I think your interactions with them, they can be a bit difficult. I think you need to keep up a certain amount of civility. You need to get along. Just be aware of them asking you questions. Don't be pulled into revealing too much with them. Don't worry. I don't want you to feel paranoid. There's no need to feel like that. But if this is resonating, just if they ask you things, just say yes, no, hello, goodbye. Basic things. That's it. Don't go into any details. Don't answer their questions, especially when it comes to money. That's what I'm seeing in that card. Okay, so the last card you have your presence, the Devil. Yeah, the ugly, old, horrible devil. I hate seeing him. I haven't seen him for a while, actually. He doesn't come up that often, but yes, you've got him. Sorry about that, but yes. Okay, so I don't think this is all that bad. I think this is probably about this situation with this ex, because you are linked to them in some way. I don't know if you have children with them. It might be that there's some link for some reason. There's some reason why you have to keep on talking to them or seeing them. But yeah, all this talk and this questioning that I'm seeing coming from them around money, I actually think they might have gotten themselves into some kind of trouble. I'm seeing a lot of trouble, actually, quite serious trouble. Money worries. They might be in a lot of debt. They might owe people money. It's some problem they have around money that's quite serious for them. They're trapped in some bad money situation. That's what I'm seeing. Now, again, I don't think they've actually come out and said, I've got this problem, can I borrow some money? I don't think they're doing that. The feeling I'm getting is they might be trying to find out where you are financially, if that makes sense. They might be trying to just test the waters just to see where you are with things. I'm not saying they're the devil, but the devil doesn't work in obvious ways. He can be quite subtle, quite sneaky. So I think they've gotten themselves into a bad situation, and there's this horrible, there's a really horrible trapped feeling around this. It's a really bad feeling, so they're going to try and see how things are with you. They're going to start to question if they haven't already, and I think you're fair with them. I think you've always treated them quite fairly, or you've tried to. So I don't think you owe them anything. So they can't come and say, oh, you owe me money. It's not like that. But keep all of this in mind. Watch out for them asking you questions and all of that again. So just watch out for that. I'm seeing it twice here. The first card you have for your future is the Three of Cups. Fantastic card. So yeah, things are really starting to look up for you. Again, I'm seeing money in this, so financially things are going to go quite well for you. Maybe this is why this person in the Devil card's starting to kind of come around, starting to ask questions. There's that saying, higher levels, more devils, or something like that. I think there's some kind of sense that this person has that you're doing better. They sense this, they know this for some reason. They might have heard it from someone else. I don't know. Now, yeah, this new, more positive, this really positive financial situation that you're coming into, it hasn't just fallen into your lap, it hasn't just fallen on your head. Maybe you haven't actually seen it yet. It might be that it's coming up for you, but it hasn't yet. But you've had to work really, really hard over a long time to see these results. This is about a harvest. This is about the celebration of a harvest. And if you're having a harvest, if things are coming to harvest, you've had to plant seeds and wait for them to grow, and then you have to make sure the birds don't come and eat the fruit, and when it's tiny, and things need to be watered and all of that. And sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes longer to grow a harvest. So it's taken a long time, and you should celebrate that. You should really celebrate your hard work. But whatever you do, once again, don't let anyone come and take what you have, or don't let anyone guilt you into giving them things. If you want to help people, that's up to you, that's fine. But I think this axe, or whoever this is in this Devil card, they took a completely different path to you, and that's why they're in the situation they're in, and that's why you're in your situation. It's their choice. Just remember that. They made a choice. They probably made several choices that got them into that position, because usually if you're in quite a lot of bad things money-wise, you've made a lot of choices, like a series of choices to get you into that position. So just keep that in mind. All right, so the next card you have for your future is the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing again. Obviously, this man has planted seeds. He's worked really hard. He's waited. He's been very patient. And this is the result. And yeah, I think this abundance, again, I don't think this has actually come to you yet. I'm seeing that now. I think you might be anticipating it, knowing it's on the way, because that's what this man's doing. He's sitting there waiting for this to come. So, and also, the air in this card's really still. So I'm getting this feeling of calm before the action. Something's about to happen, and we're kind of sitting and waiting for that to happen. And the other thing I'm seeing is, I'm just looking at this in the Two of Swords as well, and sometimes this card can be about waiting and then realizing that what you're doing isn't working and you need to walk away. So this isn't about money. This is a separate situation. I'm trying to say separate and situation, and I said separation. I know what I said. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, this is something to do with family again. Because I'm seeing some of these old attitudes cropping up here again, with this money again that I'm seeing here with these pentacles. So I think you might be visiting family soon, because I'm getting this feeling of anticipation, and there's some stress around the anticipation. So it's like, I think you're going to meet someone who's quite difficult, or be around someone who's quite difficult. And I think you're anticipating this, and you're thinking, if they say this, what am I going to say? I know if they do this, I'll say this, or I might do this, or I might walk away, or I'll say this. It's like kind of like you're looking at different scenarios in your head, and you're thinking, what am I going to do if they do this? It's that kind of thing. But I think the stress around this, I think it's really only in the anticipation of this event. I think when you actually get there, it's not going to be all that bad. That's what I'm seeing. Because again, look at the sky. It's very calm. So I think this is going to be a lot calmer than you imagine. So, if you're anticipating a big argument or some big thing, I'm not seeing that happening. I think it's going to be fine. That's what I'm seeing in that card. Okay, so the last card you have, you features the Two of Swords. Yeah, so here's this person, I think here's you, here's this family member. You're going to be at this event together, or whatever this is, or you're going to see them or meet them. Now, this can be about two opposing views, the sword on one side and the sword on the other side, and they never meet. So you're never going to see eye to eye with this person, this relative, or whoever this is. You can still get along. You might have to be really careful of the subjects you bring up, and I think they probably will as well, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. That's the big thing I'm seeing here. Don't stress about this. It's going to be okay. Now, it is going to feel, I am getting a kind of a sort of unfinished feeling around this between you. I think there are a lot of elephants in the room when it comes to this person, because you can't talk about certain things with them. Because I'm just looking at this crescent moon, and it's not a full moon, so it's not complete. But I think in this case, it's probably best to just leave things, to leave some conversations unfinished, because from what I'm seeing here, you're just never going to agree. You're never going to agree. So leave it like that. Leave it unfinished. So yeah, I'm just looking at this whole reading. It was a little bit of a difficult reading. There was a lot going on here. I hope it made sense to you. I think it was a little bit confusing. I'm just getting this really kind of, I think this was a bit of a confusing reading. Hopefully some of the messages reach the right people.